everyone. Thank you for being here. Is this on? Okay. So it's been a hard month followed by a hard year. Daily, we continue to see the slaughter of innocents in Gaza, accompanied by the ongoing exhaustion, privation, and starvation. It's a barrage of war crimes showing up minute by minute on our social media feeds. Israel is now bombing not just Gaza, but Lebanon and parts of Syria, and escalation with Iran looms. Meanwhile, right-wing fascist minister Ben-Gvir is now openly proclaiming that his government plans to annex the West Bank. All the while, the Israeli army is kettling and exterminating those in North Gaza. As if that weren't bad enough, here on this side of the Atlantic, the United States is breaking its own laws, continues to supply weapons despite the forced starvation so clearly evident. And Canada is mostly following on as a willing partner, as Bobby outlined. What feels like a dystopian descent, we learn that newly elected President-to-be Donald Trump plans to appoint a white supremacist as head of the Department of Defense and a Christian Zionist as ambassador to Israel. In other words, the stage is being set for the complete erasure of Palestine and the Palestinians. Lest we get smug, we have our own form of rising right-wing authoritarianism. Politicians only too happy to chime in with false claims of anti-Semitism while doing nothing to arrest the massive wave of Islamophobia and anti-Palestinian racism that we see around us. It's hard to take, but we should not be surprised. We live in a world that's racked by crisis, not only the bonds of imperialism, but the grotesque inequality of day-to-day life for literally billions of people, accompanied by the wanton destruction of the natural world, our only home. This is the limit of liberalism, an ideology which attempts to mask but nevertheless allows the ravages of capitalist exploitation, imperial conquest, and environmental destruction. The far right has been enabled by the liberal center, here and around the world, whose politicians have done nothing to address the growing immiseration of billions. They can't even pass a simple tax on the rich. Instead, the liberal elite veer right, opening space for even more virulent, hate-filled politics. When all the world's liberal politicians refuse to name the Islamophobic riots of the Israeli football fans in Amsterdam, they made space for the racist politician Geert Wilders. His racist attack on Moroccans ramps up the cultural prejudice that stokes a false and hate-filled narrative of a clash of civilizations. As the writer Enzo Traverso points out, Islamophobia's colonial matrix explains both its virulence and its prevalence. It has been fueled by events in the Middle East since the Iranian Revolution and boosted by the war on terror. It is now being turbocharged by the war on Gaza and their apologists. So what do we do in such a time? The Italian revolutionary Gramsci's dictum that we must have pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will is apt. Indeed, he wrote at a similar juncture in world history, in the 1930s, leading up to World War II. The rise of fascism in the 30s was not inevitable, and neither is it today. What we do, the 99% who do not benefit from exploitation and war, will be decisive, not only for Palestinians, but for ourselves. I want to finish with some words paraphrased from a new book. It's called Solidarity is the Political Version of Love. And it's written by two of the founders of an organization called Jewish Voice for Peace, which is sort of a sister organization of independent Jewish voices that's much bigger in the United States. And you've probably seen some of their actions. They have shut down a number of train stations, and they were at Wall Street and so on. They are a million-strong organization of Jews against the genocide and in support of Palestinian human rights. So this is written by them in their new book, and I will just make a plug. They are coming on a book tour January 27th. Mark the date in your calendars. They are organizing heroes that we have much to learn from. They say, "We have a formidable enemy, folks who aim to wear down our movement by relentlessly attacking, smearing, intimidating, and even criminalizing our work. Most significantly, they seek to colonize our minds with despair, as Israel's settler colonial regime has always tried to do to Palestinians resisting oppression. They try to sear into our collective consciousness that no matter what we do, we can never accumulate enough power to reach victory, to prevail over oppression, and enjoy freedom, justice, equality, and dignity. But they are wrong. We are the many, and they are the few." And we have to always remember that, and always remember that what appears so devastating is not inevitable. Fascism is not inevitable. The decisive and the key difference will be what we choose to do. And the key to our success lies in our ability to not insist on simply marching ahead with unstrategic work that indeed has no possibility of building power. Instead, we need to be not only principled, but also strategic, goal-oriented, and cumulative in our work. We must never lose sight of the fact that it is not our bubble we seek to alter, but society at large to achieve the power needed for change. If you haven't had a look at the Arms Embargo Now website, this campaign is actually supported by hundreds and hundreds of organizations in Canada, including very large ones. My own union, the BC Teachers Federation, endorsed this campaign last year, and I see at least one or two teachers here come out to support. Our goal is to build our numbers. We are the many and they are the few, but we cannot win if we do not build a broad base of support in order to not only defeat the colonization of Israel-Palestine, but also to end the immiseration and the devastation of our planet. We have a world to win, comrades. Let's do it.